today we're going to get to meet someone so special. You may or may not have met her, but she is Leticia Gardner, and she has grown this incredible business, an incredible audience. And if you haven't followed her on Instagram, you've got to. She is honestly so good at many things. One of those things is just creating content people actually want to watch. Her and her husband are incredible, and I just want to introduce you to her today. So tell us a little bit about you. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, I definitely love creating content online. What you see is what you get. I'm in everything health and beauty. So I think it's important. I think laughter is great for the soul. So I love making my life look like it's a comedy show sometimes. But I own a supplement company called Skinny. It's about detoxing because I think it's important for us to look good on the outside, but feel good on the inside. So that's the brand.
I had my tea and my supplements that you sent me this morning too.
Yes. You
Yeah.
did? How
Yeah,
you feeling?
I really did. My
You're
husband's
good.
like, "Are you having your tea again?" I'm like, "I am." Um,
Okay.
something that's so special is that the
Mhm.
reason me and you are here today is because Ernestine connected us. And the
Yes.
way that I met Ernestine was from an ad that I ran for
Mhm.
my summit in January. And I always talk about how doors open you don't even know are there.
Right.
And simply from running an ad, I got to meet her, and now I've gotten to meet you. And I just feel like it's so special. Those doors that you don't even, know are even there, honestly.
The power of ads,
Woo! I love it.
especially as adults, as women, right? As wives, as mother, because all of us are, Ernestine, you and I. And it's hard to meet friends or meet business women or like-minded women in this day and age, but who knew you could do it through ads?
I know it's one of those things where there are so many good people out there, so many women, and we're doing the same thing. We just don't know each other as are there, you know?
Right.
Because one thing that I know, and you and I have only known each other for a couple of weeks, but me and you were like on our game. And our di
100%.
like you are just a fast action taker. And I feel like the more women that I meet that are um just so successful, one of the things that they have in common is they just go. Like we just
Execute. Get it done.
you do. Have you always been like that?
I have. I am. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm doing it. My word is really important to me. I think at the end of the day, that's just, I feel like I can always trust that. So if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. If I say I'm going to be on time, I'm early. It's just, I've always been that way.
And here you are with this incredible business. So, and also your audience that you've grown. I mean, 1 million followers is like something people aspire to.
Yes, I
Tell me
finally have
about
1 million followers on Instagram, 2 million on TikTok.
2 million
On
on TikTok.
YouTube now.
Leticia, I have not even looked at TikTok. Are you serious?
Got to
Um,
hit every demographic.
and what's going on YouTube?
YouTube. So I just got back on YouTube right after my birthday at the end of August, and I'm taking over to YouTube as well right now. I've just grown over 90,000 subscribers in the last 3 months.
Okay, so for everyone listening who's like, okay, how do I get 1 million here, 2 million there, this on YouTube? I just want to hear it from you. Why do you feel like you've been able to do this? Like, give me some honest thoughts on how you've been able to grow this because this is such a big deal.
Yeah, number one is going to be consistency. And I think that level of execution is super important because even women like you who can really teach women to take women to their business to the next level, it's like I can give you the sauce, but you're going to actually have to mix it. You have to
Ooh.
actually apply it and do it. And if you're not willing to do that, then unfortunately nothing works. But I think for me, just the organic following is super important in building the foundation is helpful and it's great. But even growing organically, I can only take myself so far.
Mm.
Um, so the crazy part about it is everything has been pretty organic from TikTok to YouTube, I mean to Instagram, Facebook, but YouTube, me taking over, I've been using paid ads. And
Yes.
that is what has grown me like crazy since then. So
Okay.
it's amazing.
YouTube ads specifically.
Yep. Straight targeted.
That is what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So that I don't often talk about like the details of
Yeah.
like what I do specifically, but
Mhm.
Google ads, TikTok ads, Instagram ads, and YouTube ads are a big thing. And in my
Very
opinion,
important.
most people just don't know how to do it.
100%. 100%. And don't get me wrong, in my experience, A lot of people, I feel like something happened during COVID. All of a sudden, everyone was experts in everything. And truth be told, if you spend some money with them, you realize actually you're not. Actually, you're not. And then maybe
Hmm.
that's just my experience, but in my experience, I know how powerful ads can be if they're done correctly. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's hit or miss. I know that I've used ads in the past for my fitness business and it was going great on YouTube, Instagram. And then there was like an Apple update that really changed the format of everything. So if you're not someone who really understands the back end of it, it can be extremely overwhelming. And don't get me wrong, in some areas, I'm still learning and growing. That's why I'm so happy for the connection with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
I was really happy when we first spoke and Ernestine was like, you need to check this girl out. She's a friend of mine. She's incredible. And I was like, okay. And when I saw your audience, I was so impressed, obviously. And then I was also like pleasantly delighted that you were like, hey, I still care about ads. Like I
100%.
think a lot of times because I've had clients who have 500,000 followers and they're not
Mhm.
getting any sales, like period. That like there's scenarios where it's like if they don't have something they're selling or if they don't have something that can help people or even if they do and they
Yeah,
like one of them actually told me she was like, oh, I went viral for something to an audience of people that can't afford like this specific service that she was offering.
that part.
That it you
Yeah, I
know
tell people all the time, listen, followers don't mean dollars.
mm,
Your influence matters. You can have
yes.
5,000 followers and still have higher influence than someone. Your demographic matters. Who's following you and why they're following you matters.
Mm,
So all of those things come into play organically. So ads are just so important because like you said, I may have a huge following, but how many of them can afford my product? And you've seen my prices, they're not that much, but you'd be surprised at how many people still it can be a fight or a struggle for. So building an audience or getting in front of the people that can, because there are a demographic that for sure can, is the harder part.
mm,
And that's why I think ads are so important because organically you've only built what you can. You can't make them pay,
correct.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's
I
like
do. And there's a way, like obviously with ads, that you can target someone who like actually is looking to pay for what you have to offer right now. That
yes.
the intent of it. And the other
Age
thing that I,
matters.
what'd you say?
Age group matters.
Exactly. Like we can
Yeah.
target this person in this place that has this intent, and that's really powerful too. Because with organic, you can't necessarily say, I for sure want it to be this person.
Yep. You can't control that.
You can't. One thing that I also love, because some of the companies that I managed when I was doing ads for the advertising agency, some of these are massive brands and companies. And one of the things that worked the best for them was actually being able to target the people that were already following them. Because when you
Mhm.
post, you can't guarantee that all the people that follow you see your stuff, all million,
Right.
2 million will see your
Right.
your post. And so one of the things that ads can do is just speed up just like those specific people because they already like you. They already know you. They already
Right.
trust you. So that's something that I like being able to do too.
Yeah, I think that's super, super important. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, there's this balance, something that I have struggled with my like organic audience building. And I know some of the women that are listening and men and women that are listening to this have struggled with this too, is social media, like at the core of it, it's like that human connection, right? It's the joy, it's the curiosity, it's actually being able to connect with other humans. And one thing I've struggled with is where do you balance and like how do you balance sales with the fact that also like this comedy side and funny side because like you create some content like there was the one where you were I forgot which one it was but you were like eating something you're oh it's an apple like do you remember that one where I think
Oh
you were eating a
yeah.
brownie you were
Uh-huh.
doing it like
Yeah.
that's
He started
so
showing.
good and so I struggle sometimes with can I be funny and still be taken seriously. What's your
Yeah.
perspective on that? Because I know that you can and I've seen it done. It's just like when it's me
Yeah.
or when it's some of the clients I work with, it's hard. How do you kind of think through that?
Honestly, I tell anyone, and I only know how to be one way, and that's myself. So I
Mm.
feel like being authentic to my audience is more important than being politically correct or professional all the time. I think,
Mm.
especially in my industry, I get maybe corporate America is something different, but this is social media, babe. I run my own company.
Yeah,
But I
you
think
do.
there's so many people doing what we do, but they have to like you. Like
Yeah.
they have to feel like they get to know you and get that when they feel like there's a connection there that EQ I think is super important with people and connecting because they can go anywhere and get these type of things. They can go into a regular pharmacy and find similar products, but they want to buy from you and they want to go to you because they trust you. They like you. They feel connected to you. So I believe it's super important to be your authentic self because there's a tribe for you, but I'm a firm believer that God can't bless who you pretend to be. He's only
Ooh.
going to pretend exactly. He's only going to bless who he made me to be. And I walk boldly and unapologetic in that. I feel like God didn't make a mistake when he made me, and he didn't make a mistake when he made anyone else. So why would I try to do anything else? Why would I mimic anybody else? Because at the end of the day, the power is in being yourself. They're going to be blessed because of who God made them to be. But if I'm pretending to be like them, then I lost my power already.
Mm.
So I just stay true to me. And as long as I know God validates me, I'm good to go.
It's like that's the only opinion that matters.
That's the only one because he's the one that's never going to let me down. It's only through him do I still live and breathe today. So,
Do you
yeah.
know who Marshawn Evans is?
Mm-mm.
You need to look her up. So, in the devotion that I read yesterday that Marshawn Evans wrote, it said, God won't bless who you would pretend to be. He'll bless
Yeah.
who he created you to intend to be. And I'm like, yeah, that's so true.
It's
Like,
so true.
gosh. Okay. So, it's so good and it's so true. And I feel like when you really can let it go and say that's the only opinion that matters, like that's when you get to step into what you were called to be. And you actually just post, not like, I wonder what people think. You're like, well, I'm good. We're
I
good.
like it.
I'm
It's
good.
funny.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
You
that
talked,
confidence is important.
it is because you can tell when it's real and when it's not.
100%.
No matter how large or small your audience is.
Yeah.
So you said one of the things that you would attribute some of your success to is consistency. Like I know I've got some type A's, like they really want to know, Leticia, what do you mean about consistency? Is it one post a day too? I'm sure you don't have a magic formula, but what can you say about consistency that you've done?
No, I honestly listen, when I first got on social media a couple of years ago, because originally like my Instagram page, it was my husband's and I together. It was Mr. and Mrs. Gardner, right? But then I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. So I decided to create my own my own page because I didn't want to fuss with him about what I want to post and what he want to post. Okay. So I was like, I'm just gonna do my own page, which is the page I have now. But when I did that, I'm sorry, there's an airplane going
I
by.
can't hear it.
Oh, okay, good. Um, but when I did that, and at first it drove him bone crazy, but I would set my alarm every day, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m., 9 p.m. I'm creating content at least 4 times a day,
Uh-uh.
consistently. The only time I have ever taken time off from social media, because people like to do these detoxes and social media breaks. I'm not doing that. No. Good for you if you do, but I'm not. I love it. So, anyways, the only time I had to take a break is I was forced to because when we shot The Amazing Race, we couldn't have our phones. So that was the only time I wasn't on social media.
Okay, so I discovered that you were on The Amazing Race literally 2 days ago, and I was
Really?
like, yeah, I was like, okay, I hadn't watched the show. I didn't know. I've got to hear like a little snippet about that. What was that like?
Oh, it was insane. Okay, so my husband and I, we were on The Amazing Race together, clearly season 36. So that just airs.
Okay.
If you haven't watched it, watch it. You'll really get to know us. And you'll also see that what you see right now is I'm the same exact person online. And still always made up. They're like, how are you racing around the world competing and still have your lip gloss and hair done? I was like, why don't you?
Like, don't hate me because I'm fabulous, okay?
Like, what do you mean?
When you're
No,
always
but
ready, you're always ready. I'm just saying.
everything. Presentation is everything. No, but it was insane. My husband's, former NFL player, first round draft pick, Clemson Hall of Fame. He takes competition to another level. Okay. My upbringing completely opposite and different, but I've always been a fighter. I don't
Mm,
quit for nothing. If I put my mind to it, I don't do it, which makes us such a great team.
yeah.
But I realized that on the show, I actually don't like competition. I don't care for it. Actually, he's like, look at them. Well, whoever's next to him, that motivates him to go harder. I'm like, I don't care what they're doing next to me. It's me against me, and that's it.
That is so funny.
But he loved it, and so I got to. I really got to get a glimpse of his world because he can be such a man's man, such an athlete. Get up when you fall, just keep going. Don't worry about the last play. Get over everything really quick. And I realized in those scenarios, because when you're really moving, you don't have time. I'm more of the emotional one. First of all, I
Mm.
want to cry and fight at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, he's like, you got to keep pushing. So I realized how important his mindset was when you just have to keep going.
Wow.
It's a new play, it's a new challenge right after another.
That's
So
so cool. Okay,
it
now I
was
have to
cool.
go watch that just to get to know y'all better.
Oh yeah, go
So
watch
cool.
it. We're on every episode.
Also didn't know he was a first round draft pick. I'm super behind. This is so cool. This is so
Yeah.
wonderful. My husband, I met him playing basketball at
Okay.
Georgia, and he had walked on to the football team, but he was actually not allowed to play sports up until he
Oh,
was high school because his parents, it's a whole story I haven't shared on the podcast or YouTube channel, but essentially he was raised Pentecostal. And so
oh
what you
wow.
can't do is wear shorts, which meant you can't.
Really?
Yeah, there's a
But
whole thing. And he's just this super athlete. Anyway, he tore his ACL for the third time, so he never got to actually play. It was so
gotcha.
sad. But I think after seeing your husband on on social media, I was like, I think they would get along because they're so like football strong. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, I can't wait for you to meet her husband.
Oh yeah. They're gonna get along great. Um, this is so cool. Man, so you had the amazing race. How long has it been since then?
So we actually shot it back in 2002, I believe it was, but it didn't air until last year or this year. So there was like,
2002. Wait,
I mean,
2000.
not two, I'm sorry, 22. My bad.
I was like, that is a lot. You have aged beautifully.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, that's like,
No, 2022, but they switched the season. So we were actually season 35 originally, and then they switched them. So we end up being 36 for whatever editing strike was going on during that time.
okay.
So yeah, we did that. We did another show called Raid the Cage on CBS as well, which is a game show. That one is hilarious, super fun. Y'all should definitely go watch that too.
Okay.
It was
Great.
against another NFL couple, so that one was fun. And wait, what was the question?
I don't remember, but I was just curious how long it had been since
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah. So yeah, it had been over a year.
That's cool. Okay, so I
Yeah.
have a question for you. It's kind of related to like organic and paid ads. So you're running
Okay.
ads, you've also grown your audience organically. Do you have any like switch in your brain or anything that you turn on and off when you think about creating content that's an ad versus organic, or do you kind of treat it the same?
For me, it's different, or it's depends on if I'm shooting for someone else's brand, if I'm collaborating or anything like that. Because with when you're collabing with other brands, they have different specifics that they want you to do and not do. And then for my own brand, I just keep it more organic, or I can just flow with it because I have full creative direction. I feel like when I have full creative direction, sky's the limit and it's just
Yeah.
natural for me. It's more unnatural when I'm creating something that I didn't think was a great idea, but I'll go
Mhm.
for it if that's what you want me to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I am constantly posting ads. Like I'll create a piece of content that I use as an ad, not a boosted post, but as a targeted ad. And so it's one of those things like I have a small audience, but they're the right people.
Yeah,
And
that's what matters.
and it's good. It's just sometimes I'm so used to posting content that is creative for an ad that organically I'm like, okay,
It's
like
still really good. I watched your
yeah.
content. I actually
Okay.
really like it. I actually want to be able to do some of that. I'm like, I really like your style and the way you do it. You keep it, I like how you move all the time because it makes it
Yeah.
eye-watching rather than just sitting there saying something. I actually really like your content. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do some of that. It inspired me. I
Yeah,
really do like
approved.
it.
It's approved. I'm
It's
I'm like
approved.
so happy, like stamp of approval. It's
No,
good.
you're really good. You're fun. You're vibrant. You're really pretty. So that always helps.
Thank you.
So it works. I love it.
Thank you. I know you said that you were running ads on YouTube. Are you running them for your actual for skinny? Are you running them for growing your audience like on shorts to get them to go to your YouTube page? Like what specifically are you advertising on the YouTube ads?
So I actually just ran the first ad for Skinny yesterday since I'm doing this whole Black Friday thing and this holiday box that I'm
Yes.
doing. I have to really look at the how it's going. I might need your help with that one.
Cute.
But but I have been actually doing it more when I started running them. I started doing it more for like subscribers and viewers and getting my content in front of people who will subscribe to the channel, right? Because when you
Mhm.
have good content, it's nice and subscribers do matter on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, let me just build the foundation. Let me just go ahead and get the momentum growing so we can get some people on here because what I've learned is every platform has a different type of audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you don't understand that part of it, you'll be like, well, this works. So it's good. I got one video that hit almost 90 million on Instagram, right? But it only hit like 2,000 on YouTube. So it's like, well, what the
Interest.
heck? Or one that's hit. Yeah. So it's crazy how sometimes it's like you have to play with that part of it. And
Mm.
then I believe when creating certain things, um, testing it, see how your audience
Yeah.
responds to this before you put something behind it, not just throwing everything out there because of my own mindset, but what works? What does my audience gravitate towards me? So I think doing polls are important or doing things and just getting your people involved because that's what makes them feel included. When they feel like they're a part
Mhm.
of it, that's where the power is in that as well, especially organically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I love that you said that you were running ads just for like subscribers or even just getting people aware of you because there is no negative of people finding you and knowing how you can help them. A lot of
Yeah,
times people launch ads and it's like, okay, if I'm going to launch these ads, I better get a sale immediately. And there are so many benefits to actually getting people to just know that you exist and for
100%.
for the thing that you created your business for, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Yeah, because I do more than, my company and sell products and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like I love speaking engagements. I love women empowerment. I love being a part of just stuff like that. Now, the fact that I can sell something at the same time, perfect. But,
Boom.
there's more to it. So I love
Yeah.
that part.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of being in the room, I know we're about to wrap up, and I know that many of the women and men that are listening who come to the summit, they're
Mhm.
going to get to see you. It's going to be so
Yeah.
good.
I'm
So,
excited.
Leticia is going to be on our panel. So,
Yeah.
we've got a whole roster of women that are speaking. We have a panel, an expert panel. And so, if you would like to meet her, because obviously she's wonderful and her husband too, they'll be there. There's going to be a lot of like husband and wife duos with businesses in the room, which I just think is so special. And just, I mean, I'm sure you agree with this thought process organically. And I also feel the same with ads. There's always something you could be doing that's better.
Always.
Always. And
I
so
tell,
even
yeah. Oh no, go
tell
ahead.
me. No, you go
No, I'm
ahead.
like, I come from humble beginnings. So my mindset, no matter how good I'm living now, is hard times are around the corner. Keep going. Like I still hustle, like I can only eat what I kill. So I'm always on it. So I think
You,
that's important.
you know, it's so subtle, but that sentence you just said, like, you don't, most people don't understand how important that is. It's
Yeah.
good, like, hard times are around the corner. So it's
Yeah.
like when you actually, I think the issue that some women struggle with specifically is we get so discouraged when bad times come. It's like we
Mm,
weren't expecting it. It's like, oh my gosh, why does this have to happen? I can't believe it. And you just said something that I believe. And I feel like it's when you actually anticipate hard
mhm.
times, you're like, I know this is coming. I know disruption follows intention. I know when I'm doing this, and you're just prepared for it. And like you actually expecting that says so much about you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. Um, cool. Well, I really appreciate your time. I can't wait for these women and men to get to just meet you and see you on the panel. And it's just one of those things. It's the power of paid ads of the fact that you and I have gotten to meet because Ernestine's just like, oop, I don't know these people. I know everybody. Knock knock. She's like, I'm coming to the event. I think you said she asked you to come. You couldn't, and she still came.
And she's still okay. She's so good at that. She is like, she can walk into a room and talk to anybody. She's always getting on me because I'm more shy in person than people realize or know. They see me online, they think I'm just a super outgoing socialite. And I'm like, yeah, most of my content is at home. It's easy. I'm comfortable there. But I can be a little shy and guarded. I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm stuck up or anything. But this whole like, oh, Insta fame or TV fame, or I know you, it's still, I'm like, hey, I really don't know what to
It's
say or do
me.
either. Hi, so she's always like, you just got to get in the room. I'm like, I suck at networking. I will go in the room and only talk to who I came with because I can be a little shy or guarded and it's like out of my comfort zone. Like I can
Mhm.
mentally prepare myself, like, okay, let me talk, but I have to prepare myself for that sometimes.
Totally. No,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I have one last question for you before we go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Tell me, what is one thing as you've grown your business, and your audience, what's one thing that you feel like you struggled with that you feel like you're kind of on the other side of when it comes to growing your business? Like, what was a challenge that you feel like you experienced that you maybe on the
Um,
other?
I think that I feel like I get better, but I for sure still struggle. But sometimes when you set a goal for yourself, like a number, like, okay, I'm gonna hit this, and then I don't even hit half that, it's
Mm,
like, "Ah, what am I doing wrong?" Or it can be really, discouraging. It's just like,
yeah,
dang, you have these high expectations. Like, I got these followers, I'm trying these ads, I'm trying all these things, I'm spending so much, and I'm not hitting it. And that was hard for me for a long time to like
yeah,
accept because I can feel like, dang, I failed, or I'm not doing good, or I'm not good enough, or what is it? Or, feeling like I should be past that and I haven't even reached that yet.
yeah,
But trusting, God's timing and just being grateful for oneself,
yeah.
I've learned to just find peace in that because I know the rest will come.
It will. It's so good. I feel like that's something my every week my team sends me an email and it's like your YouTube subscribers went from 202 to 207. And I'm like, hey, that's growth. But there are numbers where it's like, man, I totally thought I could hit 1,000 by the end of the year. I'm like, come on,
Totally not. Like,
you
what is
know,
going on? Totally thought I'd get sold out. What?
right? It's one of those things, and it's hard, but I think the whole point is that you and I and most of the people listening, like we know we're gonna keep going anyway.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
have no choice. Keep going.
that's right. All right. Well, I know it's Black Friday. I'm so thankful that we got to spend time together. Many of you will get to see Leticia at the Power of Paid Ads Summit. She's also a sponsor, so you might be able to see some of her product skinny, which I have been taking every day since she sent it to me. So I'm just so thankful for you and everyone in the room. I cannot advocate enough for just getting in the room with people who are doing things that you want to do to learn from them. And it takes that humility to say, I'm not where I want to be, but someone else has achieved something. Let's go learn from them. And that's what that environment is going to be.
I love that.
All right. Thanks, y'all. I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Bye, Leticia.